vai lá no meu
Portugal is located on the western coast of the Iberian Peninsula. It has a population of just under 11 million, which makes it the 81st most populous country in the world. The population growth of Portugal is positive, however small. It currently has a population growth of about 0.15% a year, and the life expectancy at birth is 78.85 years. The current unemployment rate for Portugal is 15.7%, and 18% of the population lives below the poverty line. The majority of Portugal's population is of homogeneous Mediterranean descent, although they do have about 100,000 citizens of African descent who arrived after decolonization, as well as some Eastern Europeans that have been moving in since the 1990s and the fall of the Soviet Union. With a population well over 10 million and a literacy rate over 95%, Portugal represents a strong potential market for investors looking to bring companies overseas. In addition, over half the population of Portugal has access to and uses the internet, with the search engine Google commanding an overwhelming 97.0% of the search engine market share and over 78% of Portuguese internet users using Facebook. Cultural sensitivity is the key to successful marketing in Portugal. Any confusion with or lumping together with Spain is perceived as highly insulting. If a second language besides Portuguese must be printed on a product or advertisement, it should be English or French, never Spanish. Any advertisements or product strategies must also respect the formal hierarchical nature of Portuguese society and culture, as well as the dedication to community and family.
In Portugal, the education system can begin when a child is 3 years old. This is their preschool. It's not mandatory. Mandatory schooling begins when a child turns 6. They're required to enroll in what Portugal calls their basic education. It covers children ages 6 to 15. It's made up of 3 different cycles. The first cycle lasts 4 years, and it provides their general education with one single teacher. The second cycle lasts 2 years, and the third cycle will last 3 years. And both of these cycles are taught by one teacher per subject area. After the basic education is the secondary education, which is an additional 3 years of school. And the secondary education is really meant for individuals who want to continue their studies or enter the labor market. And higher education in Portugal consists of universities and polytechnics. Undergraduate programs typically last 3 years, and their master's programs are 1 to 2 years. The official language of Portugal is Portuguese. There are actually 10 different dialects of Portuguese that are spoken in the country. And Portuguese is also the official language of several other countries like Brazil and Angola. An interesting fact, it is mandatory for children to learn a foreign language in their second cycle of their basic education. Their options are English, French, German, or Spanish. Some kids begin during their first cycle, but it's typically the second cycle when they are exposed to their first foreign language. And then again in their third cycle, they have to choose another foreign language to study. So by the time they're done with their basic education, these children have been exposed to 2 different foreign languages.
Investigating the risk associated with operating a corporation in a foreign country is crucial. According to the Ease of Doing Business Index, Portugal was last measured at a score of 31 in 2013. This score takes into account the country's government regulations that could help or hamper the ability of a company to perform well. Another interesting report was the Business Confidence Index, commonly referred to as BCI. The BCI is an indicator to measure the degree of optimism on the state of the economy that current business owners are expressing throughout investing and spending activities. According to Trading Economics, Portugal's current BCI is a score of negative 0.30. This score has continued to improve over the past years, which shows that the economy might be headed in the right direction. The record low BCI was in 2012, which was a score of negative 4.20. So it's clear to see that business owners are increasingly optimistic about the current state economy of Portugal. Portugal has tremendous amounts of infrastructure throughout the country, which would improve the ability of a company to produce and transport goods throughout the country. The government in Portugal has made it its prime focus to improve these transportational infrastructures throughout the country for the past years. Many of Portugal's high-quality infrastructures include highways, railways, waterways, and airports. According to OECD, Portugal is in the top 3 European countries for the longest motorway per capita. This is great news for a potential company planning on developing infrastructures in the country. As Portugal continues to improve the highway system, the ease of transporting goods will continue to improve. Portugal has 6 airports, 4 of which are on the mainland and 2 on the islands. The Airports Council International named one of 6 airports in Portugal as being one of the best 3 in European airports. Portugal has several international seaports. 5 of the 7 seaports in the mainland constantly receive international traffic. Portugal also connects major cities via railways, which have recently been used more by businesses throughout the country. The cargo activity has increased on the railway by 40% in the 2010 to 2011 time period. It's exciting for a potential business to see these great transportational infrastructure developments throughout Portugal. The advancements made will allow for a company to improve many aspects along its supply chain. Prior to investing in a foreign country, it's important to understand what type of taxing system that country has in place. Portugal states that corporate income tax is levied on the taxable worldwide profits of Portuguese resident companies. In 2013, Portugal decided to cut its corporate tax rate from 25% to 23% in an attempt to attract investments and to put an end to the current economic slump. The 23% tax rate is an attractive tax rate when compared to the current corporate tax rates of the United States. Businesses that are headquartered in Portugal would be able to benefit from a decent tax rate, which on current plans could continue to decrease over time.
Because of the strength of the euro, the tax breaks and decreasing tax rate, and the unexpectedness of supply chain problems, we believe that companies looking to expand internationally should seriously consider Portugal for foreign investment opportunities.